Do human connections really matter at work? And can you build a company culture without them? Of course you can't, but let's talk about it. Welcome to this week's episode of What's Jonathan Thinking? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What's Jonathan Thinking? I have been thinking lately about human connections and the impact that they have on company culture. I've been taking stock of the amazing people in my organization, and I'm realizing that one of the downsides of my firm's success is that we're bigger now. There are over twice as many associates at CG Infinity as when I first joined, which means I have to work twice as hard to ensure that my team feels connected to me and our larger organization. I know that as we continue to grow and find success as a team, our biggest challenge will be ensuring that everyone feels that they are part of the team, that they feel fulfilled individually, but also feel like what they are doing matters for the collective. I intrinsically understand that strong human connections among team members leads to a more collaborative, trusting, and supportive company culture, and fundamentally, establishing and maintaining this is critical to our continued success. In essence, human connection enriches company culture by creating a sense of belonging and community, while a healthy company culture provides the fertile ground for these connections to grow and flourish. The synergy between the two is a critical driver of organizational success, affecting everything from employee well-being to the bottom line. So, how do we do this? How do we build strong organizations based on human connections and a thriving company culture? And more importantly, how do we scale it? As is always the case, I spent the weekend reviewing some of my leadership development notes from grad school and reviewing some of the books I've read along the way in an attempt to find some nuggets that can help me answer this fundamental question. One of the books I turned to was Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, which explores the role of courage and vulnerability in leadership. Brown argues that leadership is not about titles, status, or wielding power, but about the willingness to step up, put yourself out there, and lean into courage. The book is based on the idea that brave work, tough conversations, and showing up with your whole heart are the keys to impactful leadership. Dare to Lead is a call to action for leaders to become more aware, more daring, and ultimately more effective by embracing vulnerability and building deeper connections with their teams. It's a guide for anyone who wants to step up and lead with the heart. Brown's research emphasizes that leaders need to be willing to be vulnerable because it creates a culture of transparency and trust. Brown describes vulnerability as the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change, and urges leaders to be open about their fears and feelings. So, from Brene Brown, we learn that leading with empathy, honesty, and transparency is a key way to ensuring that your company or team's culture reflects your core values, encourages innovation, creativity, and understands that failure is not what we should avoid. It's letting failure stop us that we should avoid. Also, over the weekend, I had a long drive home from spending some time in Houston last week. And on my car ride, I listened to Dave Stachowiak's amazing podcast called Coaching for Leaders. I listened to episode 672, which aired on March 18th, where Dave had guest Mike Massimino on the show to talk about his new book, Moonshot, a NASA astronaut's guide to achieving the impossible. Massimino spoke about the importance of building cultures that encourage people to speak up, reward them when they do, and penalize them when they don't. Imagine that. Perhaps this was the most important and poignant lesson that I learned from this episode. Rather than penalize the people who do speak up, we should build company cultures that discourage team members from keeping things to themselves. In the world of NASA, keeping something to yourself can cost lives. So in their world, it is beyond important that everyone feel empowered to call something out if it doesn't feel correct. Their concerns may be proven wrong, but it is far better to validate an incorrect assumption than to continue forward with even the most minute chance that something is wrong with the plan. In NASA's world, such actions may cost someone their life. In our mortal lives, maybe we don't have the same stakes, but nonetheless, there is always an impact every time mistakes are made. And for those of you who are still on your journey to that fancy title you desire, I challenge you to learn from Massimino's lessons too. A title is just a bunch of words. Behind the title is someone who is still human and therefore capable of being wrong. I hope on your teams you feel free to speak truth to power and raise concerns when you have them. If you are seeking general guidance on all things leadership, I highly recommend you turn to Mr. Stachowiak's weekly podcast. His content is amazing and well worth your while. Finally, and my personal favorite, is Daniel Pink's book called Drive, where he examines what really makes people tick. What is the difference between a team that is motivated to do extraordinary things and a team that misses the mark? I will forever remember Mr. Pink's groundbreaking research about motivation that led him to establish that in order to keep people intrinsically motivated, we need to ensure that three key elements are safeguarded. Number one, autonomy, the desire to direct our own lives. Pink argues that people are more motivated and more productive when they have control over their work, their time, their technique, and their team. He suggests that organizations can improve engagement and outcomes by giving employees more autonomy in various aspects of their work. Number two, mastery, the urge to get better at something that matters. Pink explains the process of mastering a skill or subject is inherently satisfying, and he emphasizes the importance of practice, perseverance, and self-discipline in achieving mastery. This component challenges the traditional carrot and stick approach by showing that people are motivated by progress, learning, and the desire to challenge themselves. And number three, purpose, the need to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. Pink highlights the growing importance of purpose and motivation, showing that when people feel connected to a greater cause, their work has more meaning and they are more motivated to pursue it. He advocates for businesses and organizations to articulate their purpose clearly and to align their goals and practices with this purpose to motivate their employees more effectively. So, if we want to build company cultures that are strong, enduring, and unique, have leaders within them who care deeply about building human connections, and also are the kind of organizations that can scale with success, we need to dare ourselves to be vulnerable and build trust in our organizations. We need to build strong psychological safety that ensures that employees of all levels feel comfortable speaking up when something doesn't seem right. And finally, we need to ensure that our companies are founded upon the pillars of motivation theory by providing autonomy to our teams, enabling team members to achieve mastery in their work, and that everyone on the team feels like they understand the organization's purpose, and most importantly, they understand how they fit into helping the organization achieve its mission in life. These aren't easy things to achieve as you build out your organization. I can attest that in my journey to being a part of the energy and utilities practice at CG Infinity, I have faltered, stumbled, and executed experiments that failed. This is not a perfect journey, but if you commit yourself to being the kind of leader you would want to work for, I guarantee that you will achieve great things with a team that is lifting you up to success. These are just a few of my thoughts. I look forward to hearing yours in the comments. Feel free to share this with your teams, and let's all reflect on the connections and cultures we are creating. Until then, make it a great week, and I will see you next time on What's Jonathan Thinking?